Hello, guys. So, I've been asked to talk about spirit stones. I know a lot of you have questions on exactly what kinds of passive you're supposed to look for. So, the first thing I'm going to tell you is damage resist is my favorite passive. I just like having it on all lines, and it's just helpful. But technically, if you're running a Scylla Ace, so have damage resist, you're not forced to look for it, but it again never hurts. So I'm just going to talk down from every line what kind of passives you're looking for on stones. So the first thing is always going to be the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper has basically three passives you want. I'm going to take just this stone as an example. You want some damage decrease. So 7% is why I kept this stone. That's a very decent value. A little bit of max hype, and if you can, some critical resistance. In this case, this stone doesn't have any. It has damage. If it was resistance, it would have been perfect. So hype, decreased damage, max hype, and then other stats that are pretty cool on a goalkeeper are going to be pass effect, reflex in case of certain strikers, or even dribble in case of them too. Speed can be nice so they can slow down the opponent team, but it's really not worth wasting time on getting those passives. Now, the difference between the backliner and the backline is that you're going to want to not only have some actual defense, but you're going to want some offensive capacities. So I would say one of the best stones to showcase that would be this reflex stone. It has decreased inflicted damage, it has increased critical damage, increased receiving effect, defense, pass. I mean, it's pretty nice, but you can also add some dribble or some steal depending on who exactly you're running. It's basically a good all-round. The reason I have receiving pass effect on this one is because the goalkeeper usually passes to her first, and receiving pass effect just makes it a little bit more powerful. Now, again, it's going to depend what passives you get. Some are good, some are bad, and there's no one and unilateral way. I mean, dribble, receive, hype, critical damage, and decreased damage. This is a good penetration stone, even though it's a speed stone. So don't say that because I have X stone, I can't get X passives. That actually might be really annoying. I once got some unique defensive stones that had more offensive stats than some of my penetration stones. I mean, EMB or POL or anything like that should not be running 100 dribble. Now on a midline, you're going to want something else that you didn't want as much in backline. Yes, you're going to want damage resistance, but you're going to want reflex. Now I'm talking about reflex, I mean stones like this. Penetration, defense, reflex 8.4. That is just epic. A bit of dribble, a bit of max hype, but that reflex is basically half of a reflex stone, and I could be running reflex, 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 reflex. So this could have been basically a 4 reflex stone setup. I'm gonna maybe change the stone, but I'm pretty happy with it currently, and I'm gonna be playing with a few things, so it's pretty decent up till now. Now, what you're going to want in midline is going to be some reflex. You're going to want dribble hype. It depends if you got counterattack resistance. If you don't, it's really going to be reflex, it's going to be damage resist, and it's going to be speed. The only exception to that is if you're running a Metatron or even a Celestia, because you want them to attack her first. So in this case, I actually worked really hard to not get any speed substat, and I canceled that out by using a Metatron's Will. So yes, a small speed substat, but the minimum humanly possible. Now, if you have a Metatron, you don't want any speed. If you don't, it's going to be speed, it's going to be reflex, it's going to be damage resist. All other stats barely mean anything in a midline. Unless you got someone with counterattack resistance, then you're going to be running something a little bit different. One player I have who does have this is actually Malcolm. I accidentally removed him. So you're going to be trying to run stones that have stats like this. Defense, spin, decreased damage, 100 dribble. So he's just going to say, okay, well, we gave up on reflex. Let's just penetrate the hell out of everyone. It was pretty cool. But again, don't wait to have subs like this right away. Those took me already a lot of trials, and I wasn't even looking for them. Now, on a front line, there are different players who therefore are going to have different stoning. So again, in the midline, the Metatron or whatever center mid had a little bit more defense than the other side, but it's basically the same. Now, in the front line, you have three players usually. You're going to have a passer, you're going to have an attacker stealer, and you're going to have your striker. So the stoning is completely different. Now, the thing you need to know is that I've kind of not really followed the rules, and Vonchi has different rules. So it might not be the best ideal setup to explain this to you, but on a striker, you're usually going to try add some thunder pass receiving effect, or currently the new and/or critical damage, was also pretty nice, but since I have so much penetration already built in, I'm just staying with what I have. Now, when you're looking at a striker, you want receive pass effect, you want penetration, you're going to want critical damage, critical rate, a bit of decrease just in case, and some dribble. So those are the things you want. You're going to go with some nice stoning. If you don't find something perfect, it's fine. You can usually re-roll them over and over by adding the new stones you find and maxing those out. And if you don't like the new stone, just turn it into a unique of your choice. Well, after doing it 5 times and failing. Now, for this new unique, I wouldn't say I'm such a fan. I've tried it out. It just lowers one's crit rate so low that in PvP it is really bad. But in PvE, it is really good, especially in COD, because they don't have that good of a crit resistance. So I'm pretty good at critting with that. Now, the second position I'm going to say is the attacker. Now, again, for those, it's going to be more player build specific, but you're usually going to try to either build reflex, penetration, something that buffs them. In my case, I call this Survival Milky. Basically, she has a penetration stone. The penetration stone has some really good stats, some dribble, some critical damage. Then we got some penetration of action speed, reflex, decrease, and steal, a little bit of defense. So those are basically the attacker's perfect substats. So if you're able to get all of those in one stone, or actually in all 4 stones, that's really great. Now, if we're looking at the passer, you're already throwing in some pass, but you're going to want to actually go for some pass effect. I've been extremely lazy on that fact as I'm running a utility striker, so until we're on the 3rd shot, it means nothing. So I haven't actually tired myself getting a lot of pass effect, and instead I've just gone with some completely OP stone. So 11.2 decrease inflicted damage is basically the level of an entire decreased damage stone. Defense, dribble, pen, critical resistance, but I'm actually running encompassing soul, so that kind of cancels it out because I can add a bit more crit rate and heal my striker. I mean my passer. I'm saying that because ironically he used to be my striker when I was a noob. Now again, like I said, you're gonna want some pass effect, some decrease inflicted damage, and getting also some action speed can be pretty nice. And then all the rest of the stones are just to make them survive longer. So I hope this helps people understand basically what stone they need to look at for substats. And again, if you have any questions, just write a comment in the description. I'll try to help. And if there's anything wrong with the video, again, just let me know and I'll try to make the next one better. Have a good day, guys.